Simon Lovesey, the founder of Restart Sailing, got going just after the Disney show when it became clear that there was a lot of cancellation of events going, and having that depressing story of working with clubs and classes and going through slowly refunding money and everything, and it became clear that we needed to do something. So Restart Sailing formed there, now becoming quite a big group, bringing momentum. Outside of that, I sort of run Sail Racer, so we're doing a lot of event support, GPS tracking, work with people like John. I don't know if John Steve just did a case study with the International Windsurfing Association with Piotr, which John features in the video, which is very kind. But looking at the use of technology in safety and so forth, which I think is going to be a big theme of the forthcoming sort of back to sailing with clubs. So that's me, John.
Yep, Jon Eskdale from Sailwave. So
Sorry, wrong John.
John. Okay, sorry. Let John go first.
Carry on, John Eskdale.
You'll me this time. Different order from last time. Yeah. John Barber, Sailing Club Software. So Sailing Club Software, best known for the duty man service, the teams and duty management, volunteer management service, which is in most of the significant size clubs in the UK, a good number elsewhere. But perhaps more significantly for this exercise, our newly launched service sail event is sailing required here, pretty nearly that, supporting things like online entry, online registration, tallying on and off, signing on and off the water by mobile phones, and GPS location via iPhone. That's hitting a lot of the spots, and we're getting quite a lot of interest as we're kind of relooking specifically at this challenge. So that's me.
Okay, Peter, you want to?
Hello, I'm Peter Hopford, author of the HAL's race results and HAL Sail, the scoring software and website used an awful lot in the UK and increasingly all around the world.
Okay, thank you. And we welcome Louis, our new member to the group.
Louis Call, sailor, jack of all trades, and doing web development many years ago. And as a sailor, developed yacht scoring, which, interesting enough, I guess we are in the same business, which does, online real-time race management, everything from online registration through final results.
Good. Okay, so definitely push to online. John.
Right, Jon Eskdale from Sailwave. We do a free scoring site application which can be used all by clubs and for events as well. It's used all around the world, and we also do a NFC tally system. Okay.
I think I saw Jeremy somewhere. Jeremy's back in the needles.
Back. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, yeah, so my business is Sailing Club Manager. It's a web-based, cloud-based solution for managing sailing clubs, class associations. Got about 150 clubs using it worldwide. We've just recently released an update that allows clubs to set up restricted access sessions. So if they want to restrict the number of people on the club at any time, they can get people to book ahead, so that they can make sure that there aren't too many people trying to come to the club at any one time. We've also got an updated check-in and check-out facility for similar purposes, really, for making sure that you keep track of who's on the club premises at any time. Yeah, keen to see what we can do with the Restart technology group.
Right, okay. So just quickly go through the sort of agenda which I sent out. So Restart Sailing's had a busy week, so the groups have started meeting. We were the first to meet, and as you know, we're videoing it, and the video went down well. I think we had over 1,000 views, and somehow John Barber is the poster boy of that.
We'll take it in turns.
Huh?
We'll take it in turns.
Yeah, we're taking turns. Facebook picks the pretty face, John. So that obviously boosted coverage. So that was well received. I've had a lot of positive comments about it, and I think people are pleased that we're being transparent and open and sharing what we're doing. And I think that's the new world, being sort of collaborative and open. The race management group have already met. Number of sort of senior race officers from the RYA, liaising with the RYA Race Management Committee, and they're busy working on sort of risk assessments and all that good documentation. But certainly they're keen to hook up with us as a technology group in due course, because I think, as we all know, technology will be a key player in all that. We also had a meeting of the trade group yesterday, which is something like 9 key sort of members of the trade, including directors of RS Sailing, Rooster, and a few others. So some key players in there. Clearly, quite a lot. So Rooster are talking about £1 million sales down. No one's sailing or haven't been sailing, so they haven't been spending money. So there's some issues there. But again, good to see the trade coming together. I think a bit of a first for competitive companies working together. So that was good. You might have also seen that we pushed out some PR for the initial survey that we did at the beginning of the group, which was aimed at the DCMS, the Government Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport, I think it stands for, have asked it for submissions for different bodies, how they're coping with COVID-19, and we're working on a submission to that. But already they've had, I don't know if you look at their website, they've had several hundred, I think, submissions have come in from a variety of groups, from things like the Globe Theatre, which you might have seen getting some coverage in the media today, to things like the Kawasaki race team of motorcycling. So a right cross-section of how different sports and cultural activities are suffering. So we'll be turning the survey into our submission, which again I'll sort of share out. But it's a chance to get something into government. But that PR has achieved, that survey has actually achieved a lot of positive PR in the marine trade this week. Any questions on that part?
No, I thought it looked pretty powerful, being a survey rather than just a handful of people putting it together. That was a good way to do it.
Well, yes, I think so. And we had something like 60-odd responses from clubs and classes. If you haven't seen it, I'll send it out, share it. But some good responses coming back, and a mix of what's going on there. Something like 59% of the sector are really struggling financially. But again, people seeing the positives of it. Realising that this is forcing us to work together, which we haven't really, as a sailing industry or sport, done before. And as John says, the survey good at bringing in response. Right, okay. So next part I got was an RYA update. Share my screen. I don't know if you've noticed this from the RYA in the last few days.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll look.
So the RYA are actually in overdrive, I think, of pumping out lots of good material. Perhaps swamping the clubs, in fairness. That's the sort of feedback I'm getting a bit. They're working their way through it. But it does give some good material out there, which is our opportunity to sort of go there. So well worth getting into that. The one that was particular interest for us, I think, was the clubs and classes. And actually, there was this one here. Has anyone seen that one?
Yes. Yeah, both versions. They just issued a new version, I think, today. I can't find the changes, so I don't know whether it really is.
You think there's a new version?
Well, I've been told there's a new version today, and I got a copy of it from someone on their race officer list. I only just scanned it just before this meeting. I couldn't see anything different. I was interested because I'd made an input back to them to say, as we might as a group, it'd be better if we did a group. How are they compiling that technology list? Because it seems very scattery.
Well, I don't know. I mean, somehow I've appeared on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I've appeared on there.
we've got a lot more to offer between us, and it would be nice if we could actually do that table for them, if they trust us enough to do that. So,
well, yeah. So, I mean, the interesting thing. Let me just share that screen again.
That's it. That's the one. That's
an odd bag from SAP here to sort of Save Tracks and Strava, interestingly, there. But I don't know how that came about.
I think we should offer. So I've already gone back to Jackie, who circulated that. Obviously, mainly about our own sale event, saying it's all the spots. Can we include it in the list? But I think it would be much more powerful if we went back with all of us signing it, saying, look, why don't you just let us do that list? We promise to be balanced between ourselves. We're working together anyway. Let's do that list.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent idea. But is it Jackie that's putting this together?
Well, Jackie circulated it, and I sort of vaguely knew, having worked. I think she got involved with one of our Sailing Software Alliance sessions, I seem to recall, on volunteer management, maybe. So, yeah, okay. I will pull them back just on that basis.
I'll ask Ian Walker, who's sort of, I think, overseeing all this ultimately, as the director of RYA, how we can input into it. Because, I mean, it's interesting that they are listing names. I mean, that's progress, isn't it, John, as we know?
Yes, yeah, it's something. Well, I mean, I don't suppose there's any sort of dubious intent there. I just think they're probably trying to get all this stuff together, and somebody just came up with a short list of what apps do you know that might help.
So it's not comprehensive, as we know. So I think,
and they do say that. They do say it's not a comprehensive list, and I picked up and said, well, yes, I see that it's not, but there are some more tailored products that hit the spot better. So.
We have. I mean, we've made it. We've tried to engage with them as the Sailing Software Alliance, which is meant to represent all of the providers. So they should have an easy way to find out what is available. So it seems a little bit of a shame that they haven't included more information for the clubs to find out what they can use.
It is a shame, but it probably is a little bit difficult to understand, exactly what each of our services does, and how it would fit together and how it would address this. So I think if we were super helpful, as we always are, and put something in, probably with Simon as a conduit, of just listing what we've got and just a couple of bullet points about how it can help, which is sort of the Google, summary of the Google Doc we're working on. I think that would be pretty powerful, actually, if it had all the brands on it, so it wasn't one person trying to log it. So,
we'll go to the Google Doc in a minute, but perhaps I will consolidate that into half a page or sort of thing.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a table about the size, one side. So you'll have your thinking cut out to do that, but obviously we'll all help. But it would be ideal, I think.
Well, yeah, we need to keep it condensed, but yes,
we do, yeah,
because that's the nature. But so I'll take that away as an action and share the work beyond the Google sheet. I mean, it's good that they're doing it, but they're doing it at such a pace that everyone's getting a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, they must be overrun. I mean, it's horrendous, really. But we've got to help.
Yeah, we've got to help them. Louis, any feedback from US Sailing on all this?
I haven't quite followed much on what they've done. The last thing that I heard is, I don't know if you guys use waivers and disclaimers.
Right.
They came up with a new recommended text for the waivers regarding the virus and communicable diseases like that. The biggest issue that we have is obviously in sailing is trying to figure out how to get people on a boat and try to abide by the 6-foot rule, social distancing as they call it. Take 5 guys in the they're just 24 and you can't really get it. So we're sort of stuck on that area yet until they.
Yeah. Well, I think US Sailing have been pushing out some good seminars. I saw.
Yeah, that they have done in trying to keep everybody connected with the sport. You know, keep the mind thinking about the sport, educating, things like that. Getting high names presentations.
Yeah. Well, if you got any links you can share, it'd be good. Some people have sent me stuff. I think I can't think there's a club or so. I can't think. Sailors Leaders or something like that forum, isn't it?
What's that? Say that again.
Isn't there something called US Sailing Leaders Forum or something like that?
Leaderboard, I think it is. Or no, Starboard. There are two of them. Starboard forum.
Barber Club. Yeah, that. Yeah.
That's what they use for their. I'm not very good at typing, so typing and talking just gets completely.
So someone introduced. There was a whole good section on their site. I think actually Jeremy had a look, didn't you, as well?
If let me try to share here.
Okay. Well, come back to us. I think it's good to share what's happening around the world.
I'm going to put it on the chat. So
yeah, put it on the chat, please. Yeah.
That's the US Sailing Starboard portal.
Right.
Where they have all of their presentations that they're doing and with their schedules. It's primarily a communication tool. I think they do talks with different high names like Gary Jobson interviewing Paul Kayard. Is you know, I think all of it is primarily an intent to keep people connected to sailing and give them connection with the people that everybody talks about. I haven't seen anyone yet that deals with the COVID part or getting back into sailing itself. I'm going to have probably a much better idea of what's happening in the US with the yacht clubs next week.
Okay.
I have 3 days with 2 Zoom meetings a day. Like I said earlier, with different, this is directly with the yacht clubs. I'm taking all of the yacht clubs in different regions and putting them together for the clubs to talk to each other and exchange ideas and what they're doing to get back into sailing, getting their clubs back into sailing and running regattas.
So we've been building a bit of a links directory. I'm trying to get it up now. The World Sailing site seems to there actually a whole load of good stuff on the World Sailing site. I can't get into it at the moment, but one of the IROs pointed me in the direction of this. They listed a whole load of documents. I don't know if anyone else can get it. It's going very slowly for me here.
No, it's not loading for me.
Okay. It was a whole load of template documents. Obviously, everyone's looking at it now.
Yeah, we're all trying it. No luck from Hailing Island either.
Well, have a look at it later. But one of the oh, here we go. I've got it up. Risk assessments, decision trees. Let me just share that screen. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So we've got a whole load of documents about personal location forms, so disclaimers and waivers, as we say, sharing facts, hand washing, a whole load of. So a few race officers have pointed me in the direction of this. So there may be some good stuff in there for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else got onto the site yet.
Yeah, well, I can see your page.
But here, well, let's see. You see that?
Yeah.
It's one for you, John.
Yeah, it looks very thorough, doesn't it?
Well, yes, I think the feedback is of all the materials, World Sailing have been spot on.
Yeah.
So it may be worth, if we're bored over the weekend, trawling through this site, we might find some. Yeah.
Well, I love the risk assessment. Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
But these are the sort of good things. So the sailing officials are looking at all these.
Mm.
And our role, I think, is to try and map some technology into some of these areas.
Yeah, I think the thing to do is read it, and where it strikes us. Well, how on earth would you do that? Whether our technology could help. Some of the stuff's is difficult to do without technology.
Yeah, I mean these documents are all well and good, but the feedback from the clubs is, well, how do we do it? Yeah,
precisely. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's a good starting point, but the club needs more help. They need a row that says deliverables or something like that. Products.
Yeah. And needs to get really simplified, doesn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, it's the feedback from the clubs is that they've almost gone into lockdown over the paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a bit sort of upset to see that a lot of the conversation shifted from how can we make sailing safe for the sailors, us being the sailors, to how can we avoid getting sued if somebody gets sick. I thought, oh, blimey. I mean, it's important, but it's sort of not what we want to be doing, really. We want to make it safe, and then we have fun and we don't get sued.
Well, I think that's becoming a big message that a lot of clubs are now running scared a bit in terms of the flag officers or the directors, and we need to, well, collectively give them assurance that we're acting in a responsible manner, and they won't be sued.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is trying to figure out how long is it going to be before we all return to just the basic normal that we've always had. At some point in time, I think we're generating a whole lot of paper that, generate an enormous amount of paperwork and checking, like you said, overcomplicating the process for a lot of the clubs. And by nature, human nature, we eventually going to not fall because that's a bad word, but eventually we're going to go back to the things that we did and do. We've gone through how many of these viruses over the years, and we just
there was a very interesting article I read a week or so ago about how pandemics end, and quite often in the end it's just people get fed up with the restrictions and they just accept that this is a new part of life and they just get on with things and accept it, and that's the way this is probably going to go.
Yeah,
it's a question of time, and I think the thing we've got to be wary of is that we don't risk throwing the baby out with the bathwater by just saying, right, we're just going to cancel everything for the rest of the year. I think we need to actually find ways to do things rather than find reasons not to do things.
I agree with you.
We're going to do much more damage in the long term, and that would be a shame. A lot of the guidelines at the moment are general guidelines that are there to try and address the wider issue of just being sensible and making sure you don't spread the disease. They don't necessarily make sense in every scenario. So sort of trying to apply physical distancing to everything actually just creates, whilst you've got to have one rule for everyone, it kind of makes sense to have that. It pragmatically doesn't really work, and probably introduces too many unnecessary restrictions.
Yeah.
Sense, and you can do most things.
I agree with you. I think what we need to try to find a way to get back into the sport. The social media has gotten everybody so scared of being out, being with people, getting too close to people.
Yeah.
And that's causing major issues with the pandemic.
It's caused everyone to be. A lot of people are just scared, and so other people are being overly cautious. And it's easy to be overcautious when you're given guidelines that are very, very general, and don't really allow people to apply their own common sense to.
I think that's the biggest word, is common sense.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's worrying me is the tendency for more single-handed sailing. Because as Louis was saying, you can't put 5 guys in a Melg's 24 now. Well, heaven forbid that the one owner decides he'll go out on his own in it. And, I mean, that's an extreme case.
Yeah.
There's certainly a lot of small boats, little cruising boats, maybe day boats, that you might normally sail with a friend. You think, oh, I'll sail on my own. Well, I mean, that does increase the risk. There's no question about it. So you've got to be measured here.
But you probably could sell your Melg's with some people if you know them well, and you have a conversation about your state of health and whether you think there's any risk before you do it. Then then it's everyone's. I mean, they are talking about this concept of the everyone creating their own social bubble. We'll be able to mix with 10 people as a next step. Well, I mean, it's just a funny thing, really, because as soon as, but I think we kind of have to let people make the decision. If they want to do that, they should probably be allowed to do that.
Yeah, but we can't really influence that, can we? So I think we've got to operate within the rules as are various.
Yeah, but the thing is that the rules are interpretations of some very general guidelines which are based on some unknown scientific advice.
Well, yeah, but I'd love to sit over a couple of pints and talk to you about that. But the thing is, at the moment, we've got a law, actual law, and being the sort of character I am, I've read it, the UK one, and it's pretty precise. You basically, you are breaking the law if you meet more than one other person from outside your household and go closer than 2 meters. So, whatever we do for the clubs, we mustn't get lured into encouraging them to claim common sense and break the law. We've got to come up with things that help them stay within the law. But
sure. And I'm not suggesting that we should encourage them to break the law, but we should perhaps be trying to prepare for when there is the next relaxation of this, and be thinking more about how we can make things happen in the short term, rather than thinking, well, that's it, there's nothing going to happen for the rest of the year, and cancelling everything, which could lead to a far worse situation for the industry and the sport and everyone's mental health. If that's the thinking, I think we should probably be thinking about this is going to restart rather than it's unlikely to restart.
Yeah, I see that our role is working with the clubs to help them be pragmatic and take it in a sensible way, and communicating some of the messages, which I think, as we said earlier, can get quite confused with all this overflow of documentation.
Yeah, we want to try and plan for the best case scenario, but allow for the worst, rather than planning for the worst and not being ready for
yes.
things.
Yeah, what Louis said was interesting. So about the we don't want to get. I think Louis was talking about the paperwork, but you could just as easily talk about our technology. You don't want to get this massive pile of paperwork that you use for a few months and then throw away. And equally, I don't think we want to get distracted by the fact we're already on too much with our technology to modify it too much just to deal with this, and then find we have to chuck that away. So, I mean, what I think we should do is try and concentrate on the good things technology can do that we were doing anyway, which just happen to be really useful in this environment. Try and stay on a track like that. To normalcy again, but using more technology when we get there.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right. Because actually, a lot of the things that we do provide ways to make it easier to run events and run and manage sailing activities and clubs and etc. Without actually having to, well, remotely for one thing, be able to manage things remotely, and more efficiently, which is good for everyone anyway, not just for this scenario. But this current situation might be a help people make that next step in deploying the technology. for the future.
So, well,
Yeah, 100% agree, Jeremy.
some action. Yeah. So obviously I see the spreadsheet coming together, which is good. Perhaps we have another go all of it over the weekend just to make sure we're all happy with it, and I'll then try and turn it into a short summary. Will that work for everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's say a couple more days just to refine it. Yeah, I don't know. Have you got this spreadsheet, Louis?
There's a link in the email.
Louis, have you seen that spreadsheet? I'll put a.
Sorry, I had my mic muted.
Okay.
Yeah, no, if you could send me a link to it, or is it published somewhere on your site?
Well, it's not public yet because, but I'll send you a link to it. So this is an internal working document that we're basically taking the guidelines. So yeah, reduce the number of people to run races and how technology can help online results and so forth. So it's
in the email, the invitation to this Zoom. There's a link to it in the email.
Yeah, the link was asking for a.
Yeah, Simon will have to give you permission if it's a private document.
Yeah. If you come in and I can give you permission to open it up. So if we say a couple more days to look on it, and then on Monday I'll try and bring it together in something that can be going to the public domain. And then once we're happy with that, Tuesday time, I'll try and push it into the RYA and Ian Walker.
Yeah, is it possible you can, I mean, if you've got a dialogue with Ian, can you go straight into him now and say this is what we're doing? Because I fear my little squeak wasn't heard, and but maybe if you can talk to.
Well, I'll try and talk to him after the meeting and say that we've
great,
yeah, and pleased to see that they're producing something. Can we help with a more wider, comprehensive input? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'll try and get in there. So so Louis asking for a request of that. So the next part to talk about is that I think Jeremy sort of sent invites out, but we've started building the Restart Sailing directory. I don't know, Jeremy, if you want to give us a quick sort of heads up on that.
Yeah, so I think that what we want to do is to invite all contributors and supporters to add themselves to the directory so that it is a useful resource of people who can help and with services and products and solutions, etc. So if you haven't already, you can get in there and update your entry and encourage other people to do so as well.
Can you send a link out then where that's the directory itself? Have you got
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the restartsailing.org website, if you log in, if you haven't got an account, you can create one. If you have got one, log in, and then there's in the portal, the account section, there's a manage listings option, and in there you can update your entry. So you can add a description of the services you offer and your contact details, an image or one or more images.
I think a few of us have done that already, but
yeah, very easy to do. Yeah, very easy.
So I think there's certainly 4 or 5 of us are already in there.
This is on the directory?
It's displayed on the directory, yep. But if you click the login link at the top of the website, and then if you haven't got a login already, click create an account.
So the idea is that this will become, the go-to place to find stuff. And I think, Jeremy, we can start to group it into different sectors, can't we? So, yeah, like boat builders, sail makers, software people. But the plan is that this is where the sort of company listings are. I know a few stuff on Facebook. So the idea is that we try and keep the Facebook group to clubs and classes. And then this becomes a link to the more commercial side, if that makes sense.
Could we run a Facebook thread for the commercial side there. Because
well, yeah, I did think that, John, after our conversation yesterday, that we perhaps have something called Restart Sailing Marketplace or something.
yes, that would be great, because one of the things that is a bit frustrating at the moment, we've got solutions, but I think you're quite right to manage how much we can kind of advertise on that group. I noticed that Jeremy and I have both managed to sneak in under the wire, cleverly. But the thing is, we've got to tell the clubs that we've got the solutions, because one of the things that pained me and prompted me to post about Sail Event was, you know, I'm reading something about some guy trying to do a DIY booking system. You think, for goodness sake, we really are not helping these people if we're, you know, trying, you know, to show we're not profiteering by declining to tell them we've got the answer and it's free anyway.
Okay, so I think the answer is that, yeah, I'll set up a Restart Sailing Marketplace or whatever you want to call it. If we see a posting, yeah, like John's seen, that's crying out for it, we just refer them to that.
Yeah, that's good. That works. Yeah.
So just say, I mean, I'll try and moderate it, but it actually gets a bit sort of overwhelming at times. But you know, anyone can jump in there. So if someone looks like they need a product, just say, you know, have a look in the marketplace for a solution. And what I'm trying to do is put, you can put tags on the Facebook group thing now. So I've grouped them, for example, like clubs, governance, and things like that. We could tag them in the marketplace by different categories. And then you can direct link to it. So we could have one for, you know, Restart Sailing Marketplace stroke software or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it would be good if that could be flexible enough. So I spot this poor chap trying to create his own booking system, and I just and I could answer him, say, if you go over and look in Marketplace, I've talked about what we could provide for you there.
Yeah. I mean, you refer them, and then other people can be listed there as well. So it's sort of
exactly. Once they're in Marketplace, they can then wander around and see.
Yeah, they can see that there are 3 or 4 solutions that do whatever he wants to do. So I think that will be received better than just sort of random things popping up in the group.
Absolutely. But we you know, aside from obviously wanting to get our products out there, we do have a responsibility to tell the users that we've got what they need somehow.
Oh yeah, no, it's just getting the balance right in between sort of that. So I think that the marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, will emerge in an hour or so. Yeah.
Great, that's excellent.
And then sort of jump into there, and I think that will become a use. And actually, that leads into the RYA document as well, doesn't it? Yeah. That becomes a reference.
The RYA page is a sort of a collation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it could ultimately link into there and also the directory. So the Facebook group, as it is really a discussion between clubs trying to help each other. Yeah. And then it sort of direct them in the right area, and the principle works there quite well. Okay. So that's another action for me. So they just to share something here. You see that there? You see my screen there?
Yep.
Okay. So this is really the next stage of Restart Sailing. So for me there. So we're getting quite a big group emerging here, probably about 100 sort of clubs and classes and relatively individuals. And I think we now need to form this into some sort of proper organisation. So Jeremy and I have been looking at different sort of constitutions and things like that. And there's something called a community interest company co-op, which is basically, I don't know if anyone's come across that. It's basically a social enterprise. They emerged a few years ago in this country. And apologies to Louis here, because I'm sure there's something in America similar. There was things like the village shop closing down on the pub, and basically the village would club together to buy the shop to keep it going. And it struck me that this lent itself to a sort of structure here of basically a community of sailing coming together to work together. So we've been looking at sort of forming the basis of a CIC for Restart Sailing, which is sort of formed from things like clubs, classes, the trade, and individuals and outside bodies and so forth, into basically a sort of collective body that can work together, that can lobby, can bring things together and make things happen. Any comments?
Yeah, trying to understand how this would work.
The same with me. I'm trying to understand how that relates to, in your case, RYA, and our case, US Sailing, which is sort of the body that, I don't want to say manage, but oversees the sport, the clubs, and
Well, one of the ideas is that this would affiliate to the RYA. This is a bit like, I mean, Jon will be familiar with this, UKWA or IWA. I don't know if you can give us an overview of those, Jon. Hello, Jon.
Yeah,
you develop this a little further. You're going to take over the world sailing.
Well, not quite. This is a subgroup, really, of
Might
sort
not
of.
be a bad idea.
Well, okay, gosh. But Jon and I are familiar with the UK Windsurfing Association and the International Windsurfing Association. I don't know if you've got any more insight than I. You're a bit closer than I am, I think, Jon.
Yeah, I mean, they're all. I mean, and then you have the classes which are even subcommittees of those, effectively. You know, like different race board classes, part of the. So they all come under one. They all come under the different umbrellas.
Yeah. So they're broadly an umbrella for the windsurfing fraternity. You know, and providing sort of support and, you know, events and encouragement to a group of windsurfers, and then they work into you know, the RYA or World Sailing as a group. So it's a special interest group dealing with the Pacific area, and that's what we saw. Restart Sailing was really this grassroots activity of the constituent member parts working together. To sort of carry on from there.
I think it's an opportunity for the parts of the sailing community that are not being not as supported as they'd like to be by the governing body to pull together and help each other out.
Yeah, so it's a group working together to sort of solve a current set of problems and look to the future, basically. But that's really a heads up of really how this is starting to go, and we hope to be sort of formalising that sort of in the next week or go. So you'll see that sort of emerging and the opportunity to basically become members of it. Right, okay. So any other business before we...
We were going to talk about collaboration, Simon, weren't we? Because I think it's important to show that we're collaborating between us. We're trying to build a sort of a network of systems that work well together.
Yeah, well, definitely. And I think we need to be sort of, as we said before, furthering those projects. I mean, Jeremy actually has made some progress with the RYA on that, haven't you?
Well, we have been talking to them about getting a unique ID for each of the classes and designs of certainly the dinghies that have PY numbers anyway, as a starting point. And I think we have general agreement on that. I need to see, just go back to Adam Parry and find out whether they're happy to go ahead with that and to agree on who's going to manage the new additions to that list. But I think that's a good starting point. But it gives us a way of making the exchange of information more between systems easier.
Is that list available now, Jeremy?
No, they haven't. It hasn't yet been assigned, and we haven't sort of agreed the assigning of the initial IDs. But I think that's not far away. And once we've done that, then we can start working on that, and hopefully then adding to that list. And it's really just a case of agreeing who's going to administer that sort of master list, if you like, which doesn't really matter who it is, as long as everyone then agrees to stick to using those same IDs. And that's a good starting point, I think, and it would be a nice thing to have everyone signed up to, as it were. And then I think it would be nice to start looking at other things. One of the other things we talked about within the SSA has been the agreeing some other terminology, I guess, for things like fleets and groups and designs, etc. If we can have a sort of common definitions of those things, that would also help. I think that's the sort of way that we can most effectively collaborate in the first instance, but then where we can have a common format of data and a common way of talking about things, that makes it easier to move between systems then, which is arguably the best way of collaborating. Otherwise we have to retreat into our own little silos and do everything our own way, and maintain competition in that way. But anyone have any other suggestions for ways of collaborating?
Well, yeah, I think we need, that's all great stuff, and I think the sort of common data standard is something that we've just got to get on with. But I think what we need is some real examples. So, see, the benefit for the club in this, I think, is showing that they don't commit themselves forever by starting with one of our systems. I've got to be with the Sailing Club software suite of systems forever. If they can see in reality that the data can pass between the systems, and they can use some of our solutions for some things and others for others, then I think that'll bring it alive for them why the data standards are important.
Yeah. We definitely need to do that, because we're increasingly getting that feedback from the clubs as part of this recent sailing, is that they see this as an opportunity to kick us into shape, I guess. And,
yes, exactly. And there's a good example, I think, between you and I, Simon, where obviously we're both in the field of GPS location, and we've been working for a while to try to make sure we can pass the data back and forward. So, for example, if the club has used Sail Event to set up their entry lists in the cloud and such like, but then are using Sail Racer trackers on their boats, we want to be able to pick up that tracking data and pass it across, so that when they click the name in the list on our system, they can see where the boat is, even though it's using a Sail tracker.
Yeah. Well, no, exactly. We need to give a seamless experience.
We do, and also, if the club starts with our system, which is simple and budget, but then gets more familiar with it and thinks, no, what we want is the real bulletproof, proper club-provided trackers. Good experience on the big screen to watch the racing and all that good stuff that the Sail Racer system does. They've not gone up a blind alley. They can just smoothly migrate through and upgrade. So to give the club confidence to get started with whichever one of our systems they like, knowing they can move on. And it shows people like the RYA and US Sailing and other national bodies that we're prepared to work together, that they're not committing to one or other of us by mentioning our system, because it's quite possible for the clubs to move around later. So I do think it's important.
So I guess we just need to set some little task groups going, don't we, John?
Yeah, well, I mean, why don't we try and make it very public, Simon, what we're doing?
No,
we're doing it anyway. We might as well sort of talk about it.
Yeah. Well, perhaps we do another little chat like this.
Yeah.
Sort of along the line. So I think we need to show it's happening and show how we're doing it and be open. So
yeah. And then it seems to me clear that, say Jeremy, if in your system clubs using Sailing Club Manager are taking bookings for an event, you've then got a list of boats and people, and if you want to track them, you want to be able to pass that list to somebody who's going to do tracking for them.
Yeah.
Well,
we can already export. We can already export bookings or lists of bookings in a CSV format. So we just if there's a particular format that works or a particular way that we can present that, then for use in other ways, then yeah, let us know.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll bring you, once we've got something working between us, we'll bring you in as well and just say, well, even if it is as crude as handing CSV files around at first, and then we can move on to an API afterwards. But at least we're showing we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've actually done some quite good collaboration with CSV files. I mean, we've done team racing and match racing where we're running 500 races in a day, and that they use effectively outputted CSV files to their website to show all the seedings.
Yeah.
It's basically changing every 5 minutes, but we just pick up the CSV off the website and just read it into the tracking system and automatically give them a tracker as a result of that. So there are some actually quite easy ways of doing this.
Yes. I mean, we've in Sale Event, we've built bits so that people can export all the data they've got in CSV form, either in our own format or, in fact, in a cell wave compliant format.
So can you? I mean, just probably having the next meeting here, aren't we? But can you publish that to the website as a sort of a simple CSV file?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that could be an easy answer, as I found elsewhere, is that you just read in the web page effectively into a subsequent system. Yes.
Well, the way it actually works at the moment is that the user just can download a CSV file of everything they've got about this sailing session, which can include locations in it as well, where it gets a bit big. So I'm not quite sure what. I think that needs to go to something that can understand it rather than just be published.
Well, yeah, but these team racing and match racing systems publish their flights to the website because the sailors need to look at the website to see what boat they're going, and that's how they work. And we just effectively import that into the tracking system and then give that boat a tracker automatically.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's how those. It's a similar concept where the seeding system is designating which boat you go in and which race you're in, and that's changing on the fly. That's someone else's system. And we're just reading that in for tracker allocation.
Sailwave can actually export everything in Sailwave in CSV and import everything in CSV. It can also export straight into Excel. So you can do whatever you like within all the race data as well.
Yeah.
So it might be that we could come up with a simple CSV system.
Yeah. The machinery could be very simple, but if we wrote it up well, it could look really quite an achievement and a real demonstration of our commitment that all our systems work together.
Okay, well, shall we form a subgroup to look at that and perhaps meet during the week? Yeah, I mean, I'm up for it. I don't know who else is. But...
Yeah, I'm up.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all up. Okay. So this will be the CSV or whatever data transfer geeky club. Yeah.
We could call it the quick and dirty data transfer club or something.
Okay, well, I'll put a meeting in to sort of progress that. But yeah, that's a good idea, John. Okay.
All right, great stuff.
And anyone else got any other comments?
Not at the moment.
Peter Hopford's still here. Peter, you still here?
He's muted. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Just got your picture there.
Yeah.
I needed a cup of tea for all of this discussion.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if you heard that last bit. We're going to have the quick and dirty CSV task group. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, writing and reading CSVs is not hard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what people have set. Something like Wednesday next week, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's half term next week, but I'll try and fit it in.
Yeah, it looks fine to me. I'm not planning to go anywhere.
Well, we are stuck. Okay, well, I'll send a note round that, and then look to re-meet this group or this topic next Friday again. That's 3:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, if we can go through the spreadsheet, I think that's the just make sure we're all happy with that, and I'll try and turn that into something that can be distributed. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Good. Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Next Thursday.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you,
Guys. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, bye-bye.